All right, welcome back. I'm sorry, I had a technical difficulty. I'll wait for a minute and see if I can invite these same folks back in here. All right. Bear with me, y'all. I'm coming. All right. What's up, Ron? Happy Friday to you, man. What's going on? Thank you for joining me tonight, man. Hey, Marci. We'll get to that in just a minute. I'm gonna add you on just a minute, Marci. I want to add you on too quick. I got some stuff to do. Hey, Rita. What's going on? Happy Friday to you guys. Just hang tight. Marci, I'm gonna bring you on in just a moment. All right. So, episode 4 of the Common Sense Show, you guys. Thank you for joining me on tonight. Hey, Michelle. We have a very, very serious topic tonight we're going to talk about, and that's going to be domestic violence, man. Hey, I know that we know someone or have been a part of domestic violence, and it's a very serious subject, and we're going to get into all of that in just a moment. So I'm going to do my particulars that I do in the beginning of my show, so that way we just get you guys warmed up for the topic and my guest that I have on tonight. She's awesome. You guys are going to love her. So what we're going to do first, I want everyone that's in here right now to share this video, right? Go ahead and share this video, because I'm sure you know someone who has been through or is going through or has been going through domestic violence. So what I'm going to do by the end of this show is that I'm going to give you 10 things that may help you recognize whether or not you are in a abusive relationship. Some of you guys may know. What's up, Jay? Some of you guys may know. Maybe you don't. But I'm going to give you 10 things by the end of the show that's going to let you know, let someone else know if they are in an abusive relationship. So I want everybody to share the broadcast out. Okay? First thing, make sure that when you're in the show, you can tap your screen with emojis, the thumbs up, the heart, the cry, the laugh, whatever that you want to do. Make sure that you do that as well. So that way, hey, Ronique, that way if I'm talking, did I restart? I did restart because I was on Wi-Fi, and when I came downstairs, it cut me off. So we're gonna start over. This is the restart. All right. So again, share and invite. For those of you guys who are in here and don't know my name from a hole in the wall, my name is Terry Little. I broadcast from Southern Idaho every Friday at 6 p.m. Okay, you share again. All right, awesome. All right, excuse me. I share common sense to people who sometimes don't always use it, but should. How many of them folks you know that don't usually use common sense and they survive life this long without using it? That's not right. Hey, Lethea, what's up? What's up? So make sure you share and invite. All right, so what I've done in the last couple of episodes that I've done in this show is that I do a portion of the show in the beginning with my shout-outs. Last week, my shout-out was to LaTwan and Rudy Staten. This week, I have two people that I'm going to shout out. I'm going to shout out two people every week. And so this week's shout-out goes to my barber, Murdad J, and also Mr. Jay Collins back home in North Carolina. So I'm going to start with Jay, with Murdad. Murdad is my barber out here in Southern Idaho. Now, I got those of you guys that know, Southern Idaho, we don't have a lot of urban folk here. So it was hard for me to find a barber when I first moved here 2 years ago. And Murdad was the first guy that I went to, and he knew how to fade. And so I've been going to him ever since. So the first barbershop that he was in, he left that barbershop, started his own barbershop, and now he is still my barber. So I want to shout him out because Murdad keeps me tight, as you guys can see. All of this, Murdad does that. So I want to shout him out. So Murdad, if you catch you catch the tag a little bit later. So if you watch the replay, man, thank you for keeping me tight. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. My green screen is sticking to my back. Like, what's going on here? Get off me. So my second shout out is to Jay Collins. Now, Jay is the husband of a friend of mine back home, Miss Vea, and I tagged both of those guys. I know Jay was in here. I'm not sure if he's still here, but Jay is this mentor, works for the Uptown Center, homeless shelter for men back home. And he's just this selfless man who is trying to help other men. And I'll tell you, I saw a video this morning. They did it on the news down there, back home, and it was just amazing to see another man be able to just help other men. It astonishes me. That's always been my goal, is to help other men and to do bigger and better things. And there was a story. Hey, Daisha, there was a story of Mr. Ronald, I think that was his name, and how he helped him from going from homeless, who went through a divorce, went from homeless, got him a good job, and then got him his own place through the shelter. And so it's just awesome. So, Jay, if you're still watching, man, let me shout you out, man. That is awesome stuff, man. I salute you. Keep doing what you're doing. That is great, 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 great stuff. All right? I absolutely love stories like that because it makes me feel all warm and toasty. Because I've been homeless. I know what it's like. I want somebody to pitch in, they'll throw out a hand and help me out. You know what I'm saying? So, Jay, if you're still watching, man, yo, salute, bro, from the Midwest. I'm not from the Midwest. That's Chicago. I'm mountain. Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? What's up? Hey, Vera, what's going on? Thank you guys for joining. So, excuse me. Coming out with a little cold, or trying to anyway. Real quick, we're going to go into our topic. Now, our topic tonight is domestic violence. This green screen is getting on my nerves. And as I was preparing for the show tonight, I want to go through and get some statistics really quickly. And when I read some of these statistics, I was just at a loss. I can't really fathom in my brain what's going on with domestic violence. But what's up, T? I didn't see T was in here. All right, so what I was reading was, one of the things was that 24 people per minute are a victim of either rape, or physical violence, or stalking in this country. 24 people every minute. Can you imagine that? The stats, so it's 12 million people, 12 million men and women over a calendar year is a victim of some kind of abuse, whether it be stalking, rape. Can you just imagine? Think about that for a second. Let that sink just for a sec. Okay? My goodness. And the stats also said 3 in 10 women, 1 in 10 men. So men aren't not susceptible to this. You get abused too. But every out of 10 women, 3 of them are going through domestic violence of some sort. See? And that's not Lethea. And you're also a survivor. You're also a survivor too. So let's get that clear. All right? Which segues me into my guest tonight. Now, my guest tonight, let me pull up her stuff real quick because she sent me a book for a bio, so I'm going to make sure I get it in there. I'm kidding. No, she didn't. But, so my guest tonight is Marci Batiste. Now, I'm telling you something about Marci. Now, I've been following Marci for maybe 6 months, 7 months. But she has a story, and we're going to tap into a little bit of that when I bring her on, of being abused and how she bounced back from the abuse, and how she is this just awesome woman who, if you guys, because I usually share a lot of her stuff on my page, so if she goes live, I usually share it. So if you haven't watched anything that I've ever posted or shared about her, you should really go ahead and do that the next chance you get. But a little background on Marci. I want to read this because she's awesome like that. So Marci is the number one reality-based coach, recovery success coach in this country, right? I want you to know. See, I'm a little dude. I know people. I'm telling you, I know people. So Marci is a reality-based, highly sought-after reality coach. She is just, you guys will see her in a minute. She is the founder of Red Bottom Attitude. What else? She got so much stuff going on. I'm going to let her get into that in a minute. But She's an international speaker, published author. She writes books. Yeah, that's awesome. Advocate for women's success. 30 years of corporate leadership, training experience in operations, customer service, executive management, and all that. She has a passion to serve other folks. So, Chris, serve other folks and help raise the bar on their potential. Now, having said all that, what I just read, also a survivor of domestic violence. So the bounce back is real, right? So we don't have to be a victim. We were once a victim, true that, but the bounce back is real. Okay, so you don't have to be a victim all the time. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to bring her on, so you guys can say hey in advance to Marci. So hopefully she's still in here because she has to. We're going to bring her on. Hopefully, Miss Marci. I hope I got her last name right because I'm bad. Hey, what's going on? Listen, the last name is pronounced Batiste. Is that correct?
You did awesome. You did absolutely awesome. You got
it. Awesome work. I see. You guys, this is Miss Marci Batiste. I've been following her for quite a while, and she has a story, and she is absolutely awesome, powerful. I want you guys to really listen, because I'm going to back out. I'm going to still stand here, but I'm going to back out. But I want her to kind of tap into her story of DV and how she bounced back and how she is where she is right now. Miss Red Bottom Attitude herself. Man, I tell you, I love all of her stuff. She has a coaching. She goes through the gauntlet of coaching from, probably recovery to take. But we're going to get into it. So everybody's saying, hey, so I'm going to step back, Miss Marci. What I want you to do in your time is I want you to give them just a little bit of your story and how you went through, got there, and how you bounced back.
All right. That's easy enough. Right. Easy peasy. I know my story. So, hey, everybody. Thanks for joining in. Terry, thank you so much for your kind words and all the nice things that you said about me. Everyone, thanks for joining in. As Terry said, my name is Marci Batiste. I'm America's #1 reality-based success and recovery trainer. What that means is that I operate from a space of being in touch and in connection with reality in order to deal with past fears, flaws, and failures. A lot of times what happens is people kind of get hung up on the, I did this or I did that. And I always say, I may have done the things I said I've done, but I'm not who they say I am. And that is one of the key things when you are talking about domestic violence and, as Terry says, that bounce back. I call it voiceless to victorious, right? Where you have to be able to change how you think about yourself from your soul outward, right? Because the world will come for you. The Terry follows me. I say that all the time. The world, it's not a matter of if the world comes for you, the world will come for you. And particularly if I saw one of the ladies, shared, she said, I'm a victim. And I would challenge you to never, ever, ever use that word again. I think Terry did a nice job of saying you're also a survivor. And making the language that we use is our connection to reality. We create our reality by the language that we use. And so one of the things that I was very strategic about during my own recovery from domestic violence was, I say the true victims no longer have a voice. They're silenced forever. And then you have your warriors who are in the fight. They're fighting every day. They're trying to get out of relationships. Even if they've gotten out of the relationship physically, mentally, and emotionally, oftentimes they're still tied to it with kids and court cases and all kinds of other stuff. So you're still a warrior. And then from the warrior phase, you go into a survivor. Like, I've made it through. Sometimes I don't even know how I did it, but I've made it. And so just changing and shifting that language to that point, and then you get to the place where I am so pleased to be sitting 6 years later, which is domestic violence champion. And what that means is you've done your work, you've healed, you're whole, you're happy, and now you're ready to pay it forward and be able to ignite the light for someone else. So that's real quick. Little bit about my story, my background. As Terry shared, I was a bank executive for over 30 years, executive management, leadership, six-figure salary, executive board, sitting in boardrooms, doing all this stuff, right? And on the outside, it looked like, hey, she got it together. She got it going on. She got her stuff together. But I will share with anyone, and I always share with everyone, that while the outside looked appropriate, inside in my mind, my soul, and my home, I was a functional train wreck, meaning there was always chaos, whether it was emotional chaos or spiritual chaos. Like I was always in some sort of turmoil, personally, while professionally, I continued to excel and grow. And I was able to do that because I did what a lot of domestic violence victims, survivors, warriors do, and I wore a mask every single day. And so I made it look real good for the outside world. And my husband for 16 years was not ever physically abusive, but he was emotionally disconnected. And so when we talk about the different signs of abuse, when you're trying to ascertain, like, am I being abused? Is this a toxic relationship? Is this an abusive relationship? Where does that line sit? Um, that was a toxic relationship. It wasn't per se abuse. He was just emotionally disconnected. He was very distant. Um, and I had to get to a point after reaching almost 400 pounds before I got there, that I had to start reclaiming control of my life. So, lost the weight, divorced the husband, um, thought that you got to cut it, right?
Gotta cut it off.
I divorced the
Cut it off.
husband. And then 3 years later, I decided I was going to accept a great opportunity, which was to relocate to Arizona, where I had never visited. I knew no one. There was nothing here for me except my career. And I remember when I left Iowa, I told myself, the good thing about this is when you get to Arizona, you can be whatever you want to be. And that was the first time I had that feeling inside of me, because I always felt like up until that point I had to be something for someone else. And so I went through I grew up in an abusive household. My stepfather beat my mom every Friday and Saturday night for 7 years. I spent every Friday night in a closet covering my ears, trying not to hear her screams, her tears, her cries. Um, from the time that started when I was about 6 or 7 till I was about 13, when I ran away from home and I said no more. And that was that point where, but in between those years, I was also molested. I ran away from home. I had the whole daddyless daughter thing going on. My biological father pretty much has never acknowledged me to this day. And, I'm in a place now with it that I understand that's his loss. It has nothing to do with me. So I learned to stay in my lane. And that's part of the bounce back, is learning to control the things that you can control. Um, so I'm 13. I make a proclamation to myself. I'm never going to be that. I'm never going to be her. That will not be my story. I will never, I will never, I will never. Fast forward about 30 years, 35 years, whatever, 30 years. And after my marriage, I continued to pick one toxic relationship after another, but they were toxic and they were abusive in different ways. There was emotional abuse, there was psychological abuse, there was neglect. So, but I kept saying to myself, I can love them enough. Because to me, the space that I was in mentally and emotionally was, I needed that relationship to define me. And so I had learned over the years, remember I told you, on the business side, everything's
Right.
on
Yep.
point. On the personal side, I was messed up. But I had
Right.
learned that I could become whatever someone wanted me to become. But that
Right.
was never true to me. And so while I could do it for a while, it was still an internal struggle with me that I didn't understand. I hadn't learned to identify. 2012, it was third, no, my second long-term relationship. So I got here in January of '08, was in a relationship. January 8th, I touched down. January 12th, I was in a relationship. I ain't making this up. Um,
4 days.
by well, I met him by then, but by February he moved in. So that's how fast it went because I didn't know how to operate in a space by myself. I had always been someone's daughter, someone's sister, someone's mother, someone's auntie, someone's wife, girlfriend, bae thing, boo thing, whatever. Like I had always, that was my identity. And I didn't know who I was without that. So here I am in Arizona. I know nobody. So this guy says, okay, let's do this thing. And I'm like, but he only said it because a friend of mine was moving out here. And I told him, well, you can stay with me. I got a 4-bedroom house. It's just me and it by myself. So when the boo heard that, he was like, brought a bag and never left. And I was okay with that. Like,
you know how many dudes do that?
Like, where they do that at though? Like, but literally, I was okay with that. And so, but that's how messed up I was, right? Mm-hmm. So, get through that relationship that lasts for about 3 years. I end that relationship in January of 2011. So that's 3 years. January 2011. That was January 7th, I made him move out. January 13th, 16th? January 16th, I think. It might have been the 13th. It might have been another 4-day thing. I can't remember specifically. But I meet the next one, right? Meet the next ex, basically.
Next ex.
The next ex. So, next ex, like, is everything, that 3-year relationship. He cheated on me. He slept with the neighbors. One of the ladies he was sleeping with was sending me pictures of them having sex and all this other stuff, right? That's how messed up I was. It took me 3 years to leave that relationship, even though he was telling me I wasn't good enough. Like verbally, he would tell me I was shit. He would tell me I was never enough, right? So I meet the new ex, and he says I'm everything. Like, you're everything I ever wanted. Like, you are, like, I'm so lucky. I'm the luckiest guy. Like, you're the best thing since sliced bread. Like, I have the best chick, right? That felt really good. It felt great because I had never had a relationship where somebody told me that. So I was like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, let's do the damn thing. I said I was okay with the fact that he was married. That's where I was. And so I want y'all to understand. Turn back around, Terry. That's what I want y'all to understand. I want y'all to understand what I say every time. That's where I was. This isn't about him. I always have to bring it back to my reality. My reality says that's where I was. That I was willing to. What's going on, Joy? Hey, Gregor, I see some of my folks joining in. I had to get to a place where I understood that in order for me to feel good, I had to compromise. I had to give up something of myself to the point that I sold my soul to feed my ego. Now swallow that and marinate on that for a minute. I sold my soul to feed my ego. I compromised everything that I had. I was cheated on for 3 years straight. He slept with my neighbor. Okay? I know what that pain feels like. And when this man told me I was the best thing since sliced bread, I was okay with doing that to another sister. That's not cool. That's where I was at, though. That's where I was at. And I want you guys to understand that why I continue to say that's where I was at. Because it's never about somebody else. These decisions and these choices and these relationships that we find ourselves in are indicative of our own pain and our own experiences. And we attach ourselves and we latch on to those experiences and those stories and those tracks that were laid since the time we were little kids to say, this is who you are. This is what you've done. This is what makes you. This is who you are. This is the kind of person you are. This is your character. And I had to learn in order for my bounce back, as Terry calls it. I had to learn. I may have done the things you say I've done, but I am not who you say I am.
That's right. No,
And
that's right.
that was hard. The day my therapist said to me, "So let me understand. You sold your soul to feed your ego." I cried for a half hour straight in that woman's office because that was
Yeah.
one of the ugliest things I had ever had to admit. But when I got to her office, it was after the physical abuse that happened in April. It was April 17, 2012. And that was Bay number 2, the one that told me I was everything, the one that couldn't be out in public with me without touching me, having his arm around me, taking me on trips, whatever. Everybody thought marriage was in the, but I couldn't tell anybody, like, no, marriage ain't in it because he already got one. I'm settling, I'm compromising. But why? You're a freaking vice president of a bank. You got your own, you have your own, you do your own, you're smart, y'all right looking, like you, but you compromise everything because he tells you that you have value. He tells you that you're worthy. No. So ends up, I'm going through this real fast because there's a lot of stuff to go through. He attacks me, kicks down my door, beats me for 3 hours straight, holds me hostage in my house. 3 weeks prior to that, his first cousin has stabbed his girlfriend 27 times and murdered her and their unborn child in a hotel room. So the whole time that my boyfriend is beating me and telling me how much he loves me and how much he told me I would never leave him, all I was thinking was, I'm next. And then he said, and I'll never forget this, he said, "You will always love me. It doesn't matter what happens. You will always love me." Now, mind you, he's beating the hell out of me, my face down on a concrete floor with his knee in my back, punching me in my face and telling me that I will always love him. And this is this was a game changer for me, you guys. I had to admit he might be right. I had to admit he might be right. What if I would still always love him? What if he was right? If he was right, I was going to die. Maybe not that day, but very soon, the next relationship, I would die. And so that was a game changer for me. Once I was able to escape, get out of the house, went to my girl's house. She's trying to patch me up, take the swelling down out of my face. And she walked into the bathroom, and this is a pivotal moment. She walked into the bathroom and she said to me, she was like, "Marci, are you okay?" Now, mind you, like, who asked that to somebody who just got just got
Right.
beat up, right? No, hell no, I'm
Right.
not okay.
Yeah.
But what I said to her was, I said, no, but I will be. But I will be. And I said to her, I said, "Gee, there's one thing I know that my faith has taught me, and that is that my God did not bring me out that house for no reason. That my God brought me out of there. Something good's going to happen from this. I don't know when, I don't know what, I don't know what it's going to look like, but I know for a fact, something good is going to come out. So I didn't go through this for no reason." So that was April 17th. April 18th, 2012, ended up in the ER because I couldn't move my head, couldn't see out of my eyes. Went to the ER. Then so I told my story about 17 or 18 times in the ER because they don't let you out when something like that happens until you've met with a social worker and you talk to doctors, and like every x-ray tech has to ask you the questions, and the admission people and all that. From the ER, I went to the courthouse to get a restraining order. And when I walked in, I thought I was just going to have to see a judge to get this restraining order. Now, mind you, I'm still black and blue. This is the day after. And when I walked in, there was an open courtroom with about 40 people in there. And I had to stand up in front of those 40 plus people. And mind you, I wasn't a public speaker then, y'all. I was just a banker. I had to stand up in front of those people, and I had to tell my story. Battered, bruised, black and blue, tell my story about where I had been. I had to tell all my business. I walked out of courtroom that day, and I said to myself, I never, ever, ever want to feel this way again. I never want to feel this way again. What do I need to do so that I never have to feel this way again? Because the thing that I realized in the mirror the night before was I was the only common denominator of every bad relationship, every bad experience I had ever had in life. That told me something, and it was painful to admit, but it told me that if I'm the problem, I am the solution. I see Letha has you have your daughter watching. Thank you for doing that, because that's one of the conversations we don't have with our young people. We don't talk to them about abuse. We don't let them see the other side of it. So I tell my story. I said to myself, I don't ever want to feel this way again. How do I change it? But I didn't know. I have a clue. There was no domestic violence champion out there going, "Hey girl, come here. I got you, boo. Come on over here. I'm gonna teach you how to get through this."
Right.
That's why I do what I do.
You
That's
got me tearing
exactly
up.
why.
I'm trying not to be emotional here, but listening to your story is like I'm over here like. But trying
Thought
to
you
keep
just
it
had
together.
it or
That's
something,
our best.
but that's why I do what I do, because there was nobody shouting from the rooftops, "Hey, I got my ass beat and I need and I need some help." There was nobody there for me to tell
There's
that
nobody.
story to. I had to figure it out on my own. And I never want another woman to have to feel that way again. I can't fix everything that every client goes through. I can't fix everything that every woman who's 7,500 views on a video from 3 years ago. I can't fix it for those 7,500 people. But what I can do is say, hey, somebody gets it. Hey, I have a book that can help you through this. Hey, I can teach you how to dance in the rain. I can't make the rain stop, but I can teach you how to dance in the rain, and I can hold the umbrella for you until you learn to dance. That's what I can do. And that's why that's that moving from and into the realm of domestic violence champion, because I had to learn to no longer attach myself to the story that of the tracks that were running in my head that told me I wasn't worth a damn. That told me if your daddy don't love you, nobody will. That told me you gotta sacrifice to get what you want. You have to compromise. You have to acquiesce. You have to give of yourself in order to get something back. I had to learn all of this on my own, and I had to figure out, like, what do these strategies look like? And what I realized and why I developed the reality-based success and recovery training is because that was the disconnect. I wasn't attached to my reality. I was attached to the story everybody else told me about who I was. I was attached to what they said my value was. I believed it. I bought in. I co-signed it. I don't co-sign people's bad behavior anymore.
Can't do it.
Don't do that.
That's crazy. And you know what? Let me thank you for sharing that, because somebody, one or two folks in this live is going to catch it on a replay or however. Hopefully it's short enough for me to put it on YouTube, but somebody's going to watch this and somebody's going to say, "Oh my God, I've been there. I've been here before. How do I get out?" And they can take what you said and tie it to their lives and say, "You know what? I don't have to be," like we told Letha a little while ago, she's not, she's not a victim anymore. She's now a champion. She has surpassed all that. She probably don't know how she did it, because when you're going through it, you don't know how you're going to make it out. It's just kind of a day by day thing.
Right.
And you look back on it 5 years from now and say, how did I get? And I say it all the time on the show, is that you're going through something, and while you're going through it, you have no idea how you're going to make it, but you're going to look back 2 years later and say, "I'm here. How did I get from over there to over here? How did I get from point A to point B?" So it's amazing. So, Marci, I want to thank you for sharing your story. I really appreciate it. I hope it helps somebody out there. Joy says, "Don't get stuck in the story or leave you broken." Yeah, leave the story alone, right? That's why they call it his story.
You can't leave the story alone,
History
though.
of her story.
But you can't
Leave it
leave the
alone.
story. You can't leave the story alone. You got to deal with it. And you got to reframe how you attach yourself to it. Story don't change.
Yeah, your past never changes. You're right about that. Your past never does change. Your story is your story.
Right.
But
You
don't
can,
let it define you.
right. You change how you attach yourself to it. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was in a relationship with a married man. That doesn't mean I'm a person of bad character. It means I made a bad decision and I might have been engaging in bad behavior. Yes, I was molested. That doesn't mean that I deserved it. And so, yes, I had an abortion. I made the choice that I made and the decision that I made with the tools that I had available to me at the time. Doesn't make me a bad person or a bad character. And that's what we get stuck. And so you'll never get to your bounce back until you can detach from the spaces and the places that you allow people to put you in. The history is the history. The story is the story. I had an abortion when I was 17. That's not ever going to change. It doesn't make me a bad person of bad character.
Right. Gregory said, what Gregory say? I got glasses, still can't see. Far too many people take refuge in denial, and there's the challenge. Listen, that is the truth 3 times over. I mean, because I was one of those guys too. I was never abused or anything like that, but I took refuge in denial real quick. Like, not me. Yeah, no. And so I feel bad for my queens who have gone through it. I got a cousin who just commented and she went through it. I have a daughter who went through DV, and as a father, a concerned father, I just didn't know what to do. I was at a loss. I was not that one she can come to because I was partly the blame. I thought for a long time I thought I was the blame because I wasn't there for her when she came up and all that good stuff. But I feel like once she got to a certain point, she made her decisions. Not a bad person, just made bad choices, and it happens. But what we want to do though is that we want to break the cycle of DV. We just got to do it. I was reading a story on Facebook just this morning about a young lady who was pregnant. It's the old Ray Caruth thing. You've heard it before. She was pregnant. I think she was like 7 or 8 months pregnant, right in not my hometown, but next door. And the baby father decided he didn't want the baby, so he killed her and the baby. Why? I just never could understand that. So what I want, this is the reason why I want everybody to share this video to your timeline, your friends, that one person in particular that is going through it. Share this with them because we got to break this. We got to break the code somewhere. We got to break the silence because it's just too much stuff happening. Every time I turn on Facebook, the TV, some young woman is leaving here because some dude can't keep his fist to himself. I just don't understand it. And it's not just mental, it's not just physical, it's verbal, it's mental. And that's why my 10 things I'm gonna go through here in just a minute is gonna let you know whether or not you're in something abusive. And it's just so sad to me. My heart goes out to that young lady and her unborn child, her family, and I just never, I don't get it. But I praise my survivors, Marci, my cousin, Lethea, all you guys who have survived DV. Listen, my heart goes out to y'all. You guys are awesome, beyond awesome. But I can say it, but you have to know it too. You have to know, before I can say it, you have to know it. So if you know that you're awesome, we good out here. You got to figure out who you are, your decisions. You want to escape, you can. If you want to stay in it, it's your choice. But it's personal, right, Marci? It's personal. If you want to get out of that thing, you want to get out.
It is personal, but to that point, and Shannon, thank you for sharing that. It's a very personal decision, and I will tell you that no woman will ever leave until she's ready. And what that looks like, is different for everyone. But what I can say to that is so many people think that it's a choice to stay. And while, yes, that's true, I want you to understand what drives that choice. Because 75% of female homicides as a result of domestic violence are because they tried to leave. So I want you to marinate on that and realize that it is a life or death decision for some of these women to get out of these relationships. I was one of the lucky ones. I didn't live with him. I didn't have children with him. So it was, as far as separating ties, it was much simpler for me. I just had to deal with me. But when you share a child with someone, or you share a family or a home or income, and my abuse was mild compared to what many women experience. And so that fear factor is real, because I wouldn't give the police his name because I was that afraid, because the last thing he said to me was, if anything happens to me, anything happens to my family, or I end up in jail because of you, because of me, right? You just hold up, swallow up, but whatever. If I end up in jail, I'll come back and I will kill you. You just beat the hell out of me. You think I'm not going to believe you? Okay? So when I talk about keeping it real and why reality based is so important, that's the thing. That fear will override anything and everything. And if you are a mama bear trying to protect your cubs, come on now. Yeah. If I feel like me leaving is you're going to kill my kids, or you're going to take my kids from me, that's going to alter my thinking. And so, yes, it's a choice, but there's a decision that has to be made before a choice can be made. Yeah. So there's a very fine distinction. So when I talk a lot about everything is your choice, yes, it is indeed at the basis of it a choice, but you have to understand there's a lot of stuff that goes into that, and it's not just as simple as you should just leave. And if I could give one piece of advice to anybody watching, if you know someone going through it, don't ever tell them that. Please don't ever tell them that, because they know they're in a crappy situation. They know that they're living in a living hell. You don't have to tell them that. They need support and they need understanding. They don't need to feel judged. They don't need to feel pressured, because there already is a great deal of pressure. The other thing is, Terry, and I'll let you get to your list, because I could talk about this all day and all night. Yeah. Is there's an app for your phone. So when we're talking about being able to leave, and this is the other part of the bounce back, is everything you do has to have a strategy. It has to have a strategy. You can't go into this decision, this choice, haphazardly. There's an app. It's called Intimate Partner Violence, IPV, and it's got a picture of a woman. I'll post the what the app looks like. But I would encourage you to download that. I would encourage everyone, whether you're going through it or not, download the app, read through it, because it talks about building an exit strategy. What does that look like? It talks about safety planning. As long as I have to stay here, I need to make it as safe as possible for me and potentially my children. It tells you great tips on how to do that. And for the people who aren't going through it, but you maybe know someone, it will help you to understand the place that they're in. Because saying just leave, or when you're gonna have enough, all you doing is placing judgment on me. I don't really need that. And so that's going to make me retreat and not want to disclose. And so that's why a lot of this stuff stays so underground, because people feel judged. They feel criticized. They already feel stupid. They know their situation's messed up. So get that education, understand how to really have those conversations, because that's the best thing you can do for somebody who's in it, because you can't fix it.
That's true. Man, listen, I hope that you guys listening, watching the replay, catch these nuggets, because she's teaching me something tonight, right? That normally doesn't happen. Well, it does for the most part. But nonetheless, she teaching me something on my own show. It's great. I love Marci for doing that. Marci, it's been an absolute honor to have you on the show tonight. Miss Red Bottom Attitude. Tell the folks how they can get a hold of you.
Okay, so my website is marcibatiste.com, MarciBatiste.com. You can Google it. You can put that in. You can hit me up on Facebook. I'm all over social media under Live Life on Mars, MARZ. And so the Live Life on Mars, the red bottom attitude is just part of my bounce back that said, you know what? From now on, I will always operate in a space where I stay true to myself. And so red bottom attitude is persona, is a state of mind, it's a code of conduct personified by liberated women who exude courage, class, and confidence despite seemingly insurmountable obstacles. And there are so many women that have red bottom attitudes, they just don't even know it yet.
Isn't she awesome, y'all? I told y'all she was awesome, right? I don't tell lies. When I bring people on my show, I mean those folks on my show. So I always support. So anytime you guys are on my timeline, if you see me share a video of hers, you better click in there and see what she's talking about, because I think she's always she's reading books, 30 for 30, I think it is, right, Marci?
30 books in 30 weeks. And all the books are, we're on like day 100 and, I don't know, 112, I think, today. So there's probably about 3 or 4 months worth of videos on my YouTube channel.
So I'm telling you, she is awesome. So again, Marci, thank you for joining me. Any parting words for any of the women that's watching this live?
For any of the women, if you want help, it's out there, it's available. If you're out and you just kind of like, you know what, I just went through this and I feel stuck. I do have a coaching program. It's called 60 Days Laser Coaching. It's designed to help you build your business. It's designed to help build you back up and for you to reclaim your time and reclaim your life. That's always an option. But whatever piece of you that's left, hold on to that, because that's the piece where you take that nugget, and that's what we use to reconnect the disconnects, because there was a whole lot of disconnects that I discovered going through it, that I had to reconnect and reframe my attachment to those stories and those mindsets. And so, like I said, make sure you download the app. You can always go to, there's another great website. My mind just went completely blank. I'll post the links. I have so much stuff because I'm like rushed for time, and there's so much stuff I want to tell you. DomesticShelters.org is the other website. Great resources, great blogs, great information, great links. I encourage that. My website's available. I'm also available, obviously, on social media, so just hit me up.
All right. So you guys, you follow her. If you see hashtag Red Bottom Attitude anywhere, go ahead and click on that link. You know what I'm saying? That's her all day. But Marci, I'm gonna let you go. I know you have a prior engagement. So thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. And I'll catch you in your next live.
All right, Terry. Thanks. It was my pleasure. Have a good night, guys.
You too. Oh. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and cut Miss Marci loose out. Thank you guys for still sticking around, because she's kind of awesome like that. So make sure you join her, the Red Bottom Attitude, all that. I see all my folks came in, Misty, Coach Fat, all you guys. Thank you for joining me. Now, what I'm going to do right now, this portion of the show, is that I'm going to give you guys 10 particular things to look for, just so if you're wondering if you are in something abusive, these 10 things are going to help you figure that out, right? So these 10 things we're going to go through really quickly with my list, because I don't know why I did 10, but that's the kind of number it gave me. So 10, number 1, humiliation. If you're with someone, male or female, and if they are just kind of poking at you, and trying to embarrass you, that is one little flag. These are red flags that's going to help you realize whether or not you're in something abusive. He starts with the humiliation. Number 2 starts with verbal insults, or I keep saying he or she starts with verbal insults. So insults, you know what they are. You're talking, and he all of a sudden tells you how stupid you are, or she tell you how stupid you are, or whatever, how less of a man you are, or what have you. That's a red flag. Number 3, when it starts with physical violence, if he starts or she starts to smack you, or love tapping is what they call it, and that's how it starts. So all this love tapping. 4, the controlling behavior. If you're with someone and you can't make a move without them having something to say, they're a tad bit controlling. Whether or not you gave them the reason to be that way, Okay, controlling behavior, you know what it is. Like, for example, I know a young lady who she doesn't have anything on her phone, right? And her boyfriend controls her phone from his phone. That's controlling behavior. I'm not sure how that works out, but is there an app for that? Maybe. But anyway, she can't make a phone call. The only phone calls that she can make on her phone is him and 911. Maybe. Everything else, she doesn't control her apps, she doesn't control her phone calls, contact list, none of that. That's controlling behavior to me. But so when they start being controlling, be careful with that. Number 5 is unpredictable mood swings. If you're with someone and obviously they go from 0 to 100 real quick without any kind of provocation, that's a red flag for you. If either they're abusive or they're bipolar, one of the two, they shouldn't go from 0 to 100 in 2.5 seconds. Contemplate life in that time, but you can't go from 0 to 100 in 2.5 seconds. So that's a red flag for you as well. Number 6, if you're with someone and he is picking at your faults. If let's say, for example, or she pick at your fault. Let's say I talk fast. I have a really fast speech thing, right? And so I'm with someone and says, you know what? You talk too fast. Da, 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 da. And if it's always something like that, you may want to rethink it because that's a red flag. They're picking at something that you can't help. I talk fast. I can't help it. I slow down when I'm on the phone, talking to, the bill collector or somebody. He don't live here. I talk real slow for that. All right. Number 7, if you're with someone and he or she wants you to alienate your friends and family. Okay? That's that separation thing. If he can get you separated from your friends and family, because look, abusers know that if you have a brother or a sister who can fight, they're not gonna pick a fight with you if family's involved. If that makes sense. So if you are in, there you go, www.domesticshelters.org is the place you can go to get some help. So if you have family that is involved in your life, he tries to separate you or alienate you from them, you may want to, it's a red flag. You may want to check that. Alienating friends and family. Like Marci was saying, number 8 is placement of blame. No matter what you have done, what he has done or she has done, they blame you for everything that you've done. What? I didn't do that. Just like Marcia said a little while ago. Man, you beat my butt. You kicked my tail. How's that my fault? You know what I'm saying? So placing blame. The hotline.org, that's another website for you. Placement of blame. Don't let anyone place blame on you. That you didn't do. Man, you went crazy on me. You spazzed out on me. How's that my fault? Nah, bro. Placing the blame. Number 9 is manipulation. Again, it's part of number 8. And he says, well, I only act this way because you did this. I only spaz out because you don't cook the right food. I only spaz out because you didn't come home at 5 o'clock like you said you was. I only spazzed out because when I text you, you didn't text me back. I'm going to pause right there. Because that's the one to get everybody. Oh, I only did that because you didn't call me back. I text you. You didn't respond. What was that? What were you doing? Let that go right there. Number 9. Number 10. Last one. Calculated outbursts. Okay? Calculated outbursts. What I mean by that is that if someone is deliberately picking a fight with you while you guys are in private, because he ain't gonna pick a fight with you outside what's full of folks. He's not gonna pick a fight with you in the middle of the mall. He's not gonna pick a fight with you at the barbecue. He gonna pick a fight with you when y'all back at the house. Ain't nobody there but you and him. Hey, Twala. Calculated outbursts. Those are your red flags. I'll go through them again for those who may have missed it. Humiliation, verbal insults, physical violence, controlling behavior, those mood swings is unpredictable, picking at your faults, alienating friends and family, placement of blame, manipulation, and those calculated outbursts. Those are your 10 red flags. Okay? Hopefully, if you missed any of those, you can go back and catch the replay, and you can find out which one you're under. Now, hey, if you're going through this, I want you to not say anything. This is what I want you to do. I want you to call the domestic hotline number, 1-800-799-7233. Safety Planning and IPV. You guys download that app, ladies, fellas too, but most of the ladies. 800-799-7233. You have to go to the website as well, and you can say your story without even saying it. They have an option to where you go to the website and you can now chat with someone. So if you don't want to tell your story, fine, type it, but get your story out. You know what I'm saying? Get your story out. So 800-799-7233 is the hotline number. So before I go, do I have any questions on tonight's episode of this show? Listen, domestic violence is something that is very, very, it's common now. It used to be a time where it wasn't so common. Well, it was common when nobody said anything. But now it's non-taboo now. It's news, everyday news. So if you know someone that's going through that, don't judge them. Like Marci said a little while ago, don't judge them. Don't have that nasty attitude like, well, you need to get out of that. They already know that. Try a different approach. Okay? So don't judge them. Be an ear. Be a shoulder. So dial 911 pretend to order a pizza or something else. 911 are trained to ask questions. They confirm to get. I didn't know that. When you call 911, order a pizza. Can you imagine that phone call? This would be me. 911, what's your emergency? Yo, can I get a large meat lovers, man? She is kicking my ass. that would be me, though. That would be me. It's not funny, but that would be me. So do that. 911, order you a pizza. Keep it moving. Get you the help. Find somebody you can trust. Talk to somebody. You can't suffer alone in this. Somebody's got to know something, right? So, any questions before I go? 'Cause I'm going to close this show out. For Mirdad, who came in late, brother, you have to watch the replay from the beginning. Your part of the show was at the beginning of the show. So, anyway, any questions? Any questions, you guys? Anything? I have a question for you guys. Actually, I don't have a question for you guys. Thought I did, but it went away. So any questions? Any questions before I go? Going once? Going twice? All right. Well, I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight on the episode of The Common Sense Show. Again, I want to thank Marci for coming through and being my guest on tonight. Next week, I'm going to have Miss Pamela Ann on the line. So if you guys follow me, you know Pamela Ann. That's going to be a good part 2 of domestic violence, the bounce back. So I'm going to have her on next week. Make sure, if you haven't yet, go to the website at www.thecommonsenseshowtv.com. Also, you can message me there, email me. If you are an Apple iPhone user, you can download my podcast from podcast on your iPhone. Just go to the Common Sense Show TV. That's going to be the Common Sense Show TV is how you reach me across all social media. Okay, so if you want to reach me that way, do so. Continue to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and all that good stuff. But until next time, before I go, I do have one announcement that I want to make. I want you guys to say hello to the newest Sprint representative. So if you are in the Idaho area, if you want a Sprint phone, you want to come and see your brother, get your iPad, get you taken care of, I got you. I promise I got you. All right, so you guys, she can put up a YouTube link as well. So if you want to catch Marci on YouTube, go ahead and catch that link. And so, in the meantime, I'm going to see you guys again. Tomorrow will be my going live 30 for 30. Day 5 or 6 will be tomorrow. So make sure you check that out. And I'm going to see you guys next Friday on The Common Sense Show. You guys have a great week. I'll see you next time around. Peace.